What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Wences and we talk about creating an epic life on your terms. Today we're talking about the topic how to stop comparing yourself to others. This is a huge one that made a huge difference in my life, and the older I get, the more I really work with this, I see how much more ahead I am in this area than most people in my life, and how much this actually contributes not only to how I feel but actually my epic life creation. So business, success, relationships, and all that entails. Before we get started, I want to remind you to sign up for the free mini course on epic life creation. And if you want to work with me, check out all the links are in the description. The first overall rule is the saying of only focus on your locus of control, which means you do not control the weather. You do not control bad news. You do not control if other people like you or not. That's it. That's the main thing that I always have in my mind. And it's not just something I say as in, oh, I shouldn't care what other people think of me. We all know that. We all know we shouldn't care, and we still care. This actually has more to do with what you focus on outside of that will make it easier to not care what others think of you at the same time. So for example, how much time are you really watching news that are bringing you down? How much of your time are you really focused or getting mad about the weather? How much are you really focused on if Jenny and Anna really like you? The more you focus on these things, the more you're actually focusing on things that are outside of your locus of control. Locus of control is actually everything that falls into your power field, everything you can change. And the more you focus on those things, the less you're gonna start thinking about the other things, the less you're gonna compare yourself. That's the whole thing. It does not work to say, I wanna do something less, so I'm just gonna think of, I should be doing this less. That doesn't work. It doesn't only apply here, it applies to everything. If you wanna change your behavior, you have to focus on new things. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna focus on creating your life and living everything in accordance to how you wanna create it and how you wanna live it. And you'll see, before you know it, you're gonna stop comparing yourself to others. That being said, really look at the people you're comparing yourself with. What positive things can you really take out of that? What is obtainable, what isn't? If you're, for example, jealous, or you feel this uncomfortable feeling of resentment that your friend has been born into a wealthy family and they have so much going on and you don't, well, that's something that's not healthy. That's not something we can change. You weren't really born in that situation, so this is what you got to deal with. This is outside of your locus of control. But there are other things that can be very, very helpful. So for example, if you compare yourself to your friend who is always outgoing, who really likes to have fun, who has people around her who really encourage her and really like her. If this is something that you want and you compare yourself to her and feel like, well, she has all these friends and I don't, then really start writing those things down. I want to be a person who has friends. I want to be a person who goes out and throws parties. I want to be a person who has positive energy around her or him. You have to be aware, everything that you control, you have to be the one who takes it on. Because that friend or that person who has all of those things coming to her or him, they are actually taking control of that. Even if it's something like, I'm gonna make sure that I get presents, or I'm gonna make sure that I always get the promotion. The way to do that is for you to actually say, I'm gonna take responsibility for it. I want that. I have to admit to myself first and foremost what I want. And if you see friends, coworkers, people out there who have things that you want, really write that down and write down how you're gonna get it. If you really say, oh, I like that person having so much fun, but I don't wanna do the work on being a person who actually builds up not only their self-esteem but their energy level, and I want to be the one creating all of this fun. I don't just want to be a bystander. I want to create this. If you want this, then you have to put in the work. And guess what? You're not going to have everything you want if you are not the one creating it. You put yourself in a situation, you demand this of your life, and only that way the things will happen. The third thing are actually to look into the feelings all of those projections give you. So Don't shy away from it. Don't feel bad about comparing yourself to others. Rather analyze what it is that you really want. Because let's say you see somebody who has a huge success with their bookstore, but in the end, you don't really care about having a bookstore. What you actually care is what you think that person feels at that moment. And it's that kind of feeling that you want to have once you really take on the essence of that. What is the essence of it? Is it that that person has the power to create their own life? Is it that the person has the ambition to create their own life? Is it really the independence? Is it maybe the free time? Like, really analyze it, look into it, and realize you have that power just as much as every other person. And if you think, well, I'm not in the same position because that person had so much luck, because they had that inheritance, whatever it is, it doesn't change anything about it. If you have a feeling that you're projecting onto that person, then that's a feeling you want to have. And you might feel like this if you are just taking a little step into saying, I'm going to go for a better job. That one step might give you that feeling, what you think that person is feeling once they had that bookstore because they had the inheritance. You're never really in love or comparing yourself to what's actually going on with that person. You're always comparing yourself to a feeling that you think that person is having. And guess what? If you can feel it, it's in you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be feeling it. Let those feelings guide you, even if it's something like resentment, jealousy, or a feeling of inferiority. This is actually your mind showing you that there's something that you want that you haven't taken control of yet. And it's very rarely exactly what that person has. It's not that you want that person's relationship, that you want that person's job. It's just that feeling. So concentrate on that feeling. What would you want to feel? How would that feel so you wouldn't resent that person? What do you think that person has the audacity to ask for? And then ask for it yourself. Those are always think of boundaries. And if you want to look into boundaries, check out the video I did last time on how to develop healthy boundaries. That will help you a lot. But right now we're talking about comparing yourself, and we want to stop that. So really, first off, before you deny yourself any comparison, look at what you can learn from that situation. Once you have that list down, and you can always add to the list. This is not something that you do once and never again. Anytime a negative feeling comes up, when you encounter yourself comparing yourself to somebody else, take that as feedback to show you where you want to go and what might make you feel like this. And that's when we come to number 4. The interesting thing is, the more you're really being yourself, the more you're creating those emotions for yourself, the less you can compare yourself to others. It's really, really counterintuitive, but it's so true. The more I'm actually being myself, the more I start living the life on my terms, my epic life, doing things like moving to Spain, having my own retreat, scaling my business, whatever it is. The more it is me, the less I have the urge to compare myself. It's not even possible. The more I start building things for myself and I'm not denying anything to myself, I start looking at people and I'm happy for their success, when maybe 6 years before that, I did feel sadness. I felt even resentment that they could actually allow themselves to do this. I can tell you a really good example. The moment I really quit my job and started doing something full-time that I loved, a lot of my resentments went away, because up until that point, I felt I had to do something I don't want to do. So I was resentful when friends of mine didn't have to do the things I had to do, didn't have to work as much, and they still got what they wanted. So the moment I quit my job and I started doing this full time, I realized I can have both. Because this is what I was resentful, angry, or sad about, that you can have it all. And the moment I took control of it, I really started saying, well, this is where I'm going. I'm getting what I want, and I'm not paying a price of my integrity, for example, or doing things I don't want to do. The more I start doing this, the less I have the urge to compare myself to others. It just doesn't happen. I am happy for everybody going their journey and having an amazing experience, and I'm building this for myself. And this is not a nothing versus all situation. This is also something which you lean into. The more you start doing things on your terms, the more you start creating the life you want, you will see how you will just stop comparing yourself. I can tell you this from experience. I used to compare myself a lot. Now I don't do it at all, and I have no intention of doing it. So take all of those emotions as guidelines to where you want to go and how you want to develop. So now let's get to step number 5. turn this list of things that you want, that others inspired you, all of those feelings, turn them into a vision board or a dream board. What kind of things would make you feel like this? And don't be afraid to make a mistake here. You might change those things. What is the most likely thing that you can think of? What is the thing closest to that would give you that feeling? And not in a way of, oh, other people would see me and that's how I would feel. What would have to happen in your life? How would your life have to change in order for you not to feel those negative emotions when you compare yourself to others? Out of that dream board, you start building an action plan with goals that have a time limit on them. Take the 5 pillars as a guidance, which are physical energy management, relationship management, wealth management, vocation, and priority management. Take those 5 things, apply all of those emotions onto this, and then set a goal list for this month, this year, this week, and go for it. It has to be in all of those areas, and you'll see the more you lean into it and you don't leave one completely behind, you're making progress in all of them, and you will see how all of those emotions that you feel that you can't have, that others are having, which of course is just a projections of things that you can have, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to feel them. What kind of things would have to happen in your life that will make you feel good and which would make those feelings about others disappear? You make a dream board, you have a vision board, then you take action every week, every month, every year in the 5 pillars, and you will see before you know it, you're gonna stop comparing yourself to others, because you will see that your life will become more and more the vision that you always had. And it will never be just something like, oh, I always wanted to have that house or that job. It will be an emotion. You will just feel complete. You will feel you have meaning in your life, and all comparisons just evaporate. If you're ready to take the next step, sign up for the Epic Life mini course and check out everything on one-on-one coaching if you want to work with me privately on creating an epic life on your terms. I wish you a great day, guys, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.